Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back. Great to have you along. And I'm really looking forward to today's conversation with Cecilia Clark. Cecilia is the founder of an amazing business called Aphrodite HR, and that's aphroditehr.com. Now, Aphrodite HR specializes in helping independent fertility practices thrive in an industry increasingly dominated by private equity-backed networks. And they do this by providing expert consulting and talent acquisition services. And their team is made up exclusively of women leaders in the fertility world. So before we get into all of that, firstly, Cecilia, thank you very much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. This is an honor. I'm so excited.
Yeah, looking forward to it. What a wonderful area to go into. I mean, it's literally the future. So can I take it back to the start? Can you explain where the idea and why you launched Aphrodite HR?
So it came out of necessity, out of COVID. I worked for IntegraMed and they filed for bankruptcy in May. And all of a sudden I had 5 practices that I worked for directly that had no HR. They had no benefits. They had no way of paying their people. So I made sure 2 of them were good and I stayed with the 3. I helped them find a PO. I was their HR. I did their payroll, their employee relations, redid their handbooks. And I was with them for about a year. I was doing pretty well, but it was too much. I was working from like 6 in the morning to like 10 o'clock at night every single day because it was 3 practices. I went and found myself at USF. USF has a policy to where you can't work a different business, and I work for them as well. So I had to drop my other practices. I made sure that they were okay and they found a new HR person. But then I worked for USF for 3 years and I left because I got sick. And I took a break and I decided to step out. I love HR. I love being able to help people. I love being able to help leaders grow and grow their business. So I decided to go into a different industry. Right now I'm working for an import company. We import stone, porcelain, and furniture from all over the world. It's on site, 8 to 4:30. I'm here every day. Great thing is our work-life balance is amazing. I don't have a laptop, so there's no such thing as an email from my boss at 10 o'clock in the afternoon. No weekend phone calls. And if I'm off, I'm off. I literally can't work. It's great. So then I decided I was still paying taxes. I never stopped paying taxes and the annual reviews for my business. So I decided to pick it back up because I love my friends. I have tons of friends, lab directors, executive directors, embryologists, physicians that are still in the field. And I still have over 13,000 connections on LinkedIn. Out of the 13,000 connections, 90% of them are in fertility. So I'm still hearing and seeing the struggles that I'm seeing. And I've decided to go back in the field. I decided that, on my off time, which I have a lot of off time now, I want to be able to help them out. I want to be able to help them where they need. And that is in training their leaders to become better and find them good people so they don't have work-life balance issues.
So just to be clear, then, this is like a side project. Some might call it a side hustle, but it's more formal than that because it's an established business. Is that right? Can you describe that?
It is a side business. I have an LLC.
Yep.
I have a website. I have people working with me who are also per diems, a lot of per diems. A lot of lab directors are working with me right now. I have a couple of lab directors. I'm working with an executive director as well who pivoted out of fertility right out of COVID, who owns his own business but still loves the field but doesn't want to do it full time. So it's a lot of us part-timers that love the field and we just want to make a difference.
So you can guess the kind of HR issues that fertility practices might face, because in my mind, it's kind of like a medical practice. It is a hiring, termination, training, onboarding. But is there anything that's different around the HR world for fertility practices?
I think it is. I think it's very important that we watch the work-life balance of our people, especially the work-life balance of our physicians, especially the work-life balance of the people in the lab. Why? Because when you're tired, when you're burnt out, you work too much, you burn out, you're going to make mistakes. And mistakes in fertility are fatal. literally can cost someone their baby or cost issues like we've seen in the past. In the news recently, there was an instance, I'm not going to name the practice, that they implanted the wrong embryo into someone, and then that person went and had the baby, loved the baby. The biological parents of the embryo took the baby, and now she's without a baby, and she had the child. Hard enough that you have to pay for the fertility treatment, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now you actually have the miracle of getting pregnant, because that's the second thing you got to deal with. You're already taking the hormones, you're taking the shots. It is painful. It is all kinds of stressful on the body, and then you have nothing to show for it. And
That's
all
horrendous.
because of errors.
Forgive my ignorance, but hospitals, emergency wards, I can picture people just working crazy hours nonstop. And I figure in a fertility practice, it's scheduled appointments. People come in, it's 9 to 5. How do you get this work-life balance issue or the overwork side of things?
What happens is there is no such thing as a schedule. You can't put a schedule on a cycle. So we work Monday through Sunday, even on holidays, because if something happens and they need to come in because it's the time of the month or their hormones are in the right spot, they need to come in for a transfer, they need to come in for treatment, we're going to have someone there to do it. And that's where work-life balance can become an issue, because you're supposed to have so many physicians for one embryologist. Well, sometimes that gets skewed because there's not enough embryologists to go around in the whole nation. We're short.
There are labor supply issues when it comes to embryologists and some of the other roles that support those. Is that right?
And physicians too.
And the physicians. Got it. So then that's where you and Aphrodite HR can come in and support businesses. What do you do? How do you help?
First thing that I do is come in, talk to their physicians. I like to deal directly with the medical directors and the physicians, because they're the ones that open the practice, did all the hard work, and are the ones that make the hard decisions. Get to know them, ask them what they need, and then help them grow their business. Growing a small to medium-sized business practice is very difficult. There is lots of different venues. You can either add a physician. If you add a physician, you need to add embryologists. If you want to get another clinic up, you're going to need more staffing. So in regards to strategizing when to do it, how to do it, and bringing the people in, I'm the one that can bring the people in. I don't just work with anybody. I'm very picky which practice I work with, because the people that I bring in trust in me that the practice has a good lab director, has a good physician, it has good leaders that's going to take care of them later on. So that's what makes us different, because this is a, like you called it, a side hustle. I can't say no.
Are there certain types of services that you provide that are A, more often, more frequently requested, and then B, are there any services that are the first thing that they ask for, almost like the entry point into your wider range of services? So more often, and then the front door type stuff.
Recruitment. Practices are always looking for more people because they're growing. Every practice, at the end of the day, the thing they want to do is grow. That's why they need to increase their staffing. They need to staff extra locations. And that's where I come in. I have been in HR since 2011. I've been recruiting since 2015. And I've been in fertility for 2019. So I know my stuff. I know the people. And the interesting part about fertility is it's such a small world. I don't think I've met a embryologist yet that hasn't worked for a practice that I haven't talked to the lab director for. I am not joking. It's hilarious. I met someone this morning. He's from Colombia because I'm from Santiago, Chile. We had that immediate connection. And then I immediately went to their LinkedIn account and I noticed that they used to work for another practice that I used to work for. And then we started talking about that. So they say that in embryology, either you have a great reputation or you have a bad reputation. That's the only thing you have to be worried about, is you have to be very careful that you don't burn out, so you don't make like life-changing, career-ending mistakes.
Yeah, big time, big time. You're embedded in the fertility practices world. When people start HR-related consulting business, particularly consultancies and this side of things, most will be generalist firms. You know, they'll go agnostic across all industries, and you've chosen to go deep into one industry. Any thoughts, recommendations, views on that?
Well, to be honest, have you ever heard, I had a mentor, he's the CEO of an agency, a recruiting agency. He taught me that only kings and queens, experts in their field, make it in this world. And then something else he used to say, get rich by focusing on a niche. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm in a space where financially I'm great. I'm doing amazing. And I wanted to work on something that I feel strongly and passionately about. I never wanted to leave fertility.
Mm.
I just never found the right fit after I left US Fertility. And I decided, you know what? I want to do this on my own. I want to be my own boss, work with who I want to work on what I want to work with, and I want to make a difference.
In the early stages of your business, you had, I think it was 3 clients, and you were working from dawn till dusk, crazy hours, burning out. What's different this time? Have you kind of structured your services and the way you deliver things in a different way? Or what are you doing differently to make sure you avoid that burnout?
I take 10 days off. Like I don't work Friday or Saturday. I have it sectioned off to where I do work in afternoons. I use Calendly to schedule time off between myself. So I only, for example, I only work from 8 to 10. I'm a night owl. Which is great because then I can talk to all my friends that are overseas. I talk to them too because there's embryologists and physicians. There's fertilities happening all over the world. And I have international people wanting to come to the United States asking me, how do I do it? It's hard, but it's doable. But I focus on the things that make me happy because when I focus on the things that make me happy, which is helping people, helping practices grow, helping them be better, to me, it's not work. To me, it's fun. To me, it's a passion.
Just as a side note, you've got friends and connections and embryologists around the world. Is that a business line that you would bring in for the recruitment side of things? Because I know when I was running an HR business, that was in times of labor shortages, we had access to different types of roles from different countries and we could bring them in as part of a recruitment service. Is that something you do?
Not at the moment. I've done it before. It costs about $10,000 to bring someone else externally in after court fees and everything. The problems that I see is that lab directors don't feel comfortable spending that much money on someone they've never met. And I've been burned before.
Sure. So on the business growth side of things, what are you doing to market and grow the business and get the word out there?
Well, let's see. I have Canva for all my graphics. I use Buffer for social media because I work late at night or really, really early in the morning. I get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Honestly, I get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night because I'm the kind of person, I don't want to sleep my life away. So I'm either working really early in the morning or working really late at night. So I put everything in Buffer and Buffer automatically posts it. So even during the day when I'm at work, everything is going out and I have so much material because there's so much I want to share. I don't have to worry about it for 2 or 3 weeks because I always have something going on. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm connecting with people that are looking for work, help that want in contract work. I'm currently trying to talk to a guy who specializes in videos, YouTube videos and Instagram videos to help me create videos for Instagram.
Nice.
I'm going to start working with a marketing strategist to help me hone it in because I'm just one person and I'm not an expert in social media marketing. So I need a strategist and she's looking for work too. So we can help each other out. Why not?
Great stuff. And just for the people listening to this, you mentioned, long hours and you use Buffer. So for people listening, that Buffer is just another automation tool where you can preload stuff. So you might go into Canva, make all these images and quotes and stuff like that. You then upload them. And I think you can do it through Canva too, but you can upload that into Buffer and say on Wednesday at 2 p.m. this goes out. And then Thursday at 9 a.m. this goes. And so, Cecilia, you're saying that you might have 2 or 3 weeks loaded up so you can just walk away, forget about it, and everything's still humming along. Is that right?
That's right. And I have 5 different channels. I'm on LinkedIn. I have my personal LinkedIn, my page LinkedIn. I have Instagram, my personal Instagram. And then I have the page Instagram and my Facebook page. That Buffer, I don't think I could do it.
Which do you think is the best platform?
LinkedIn all the way.
Yeah, why do you say that?
Because it's easier to reach a wider audience on LinkedIn. Because on LinkedIn, if somebody likes or comments on your post, then everybody in their network will be able to see it. So I have some posts that are hitting 3 to 10,000 views. And of course, it's the ones where I'm looking for people. I recently, when I first started looking for people for my business, I needed a consultant in the lab, and either a lab director or manager or a specialist or an embryologist. I had the job filled with all three within a week.
Wow. Yep. So social media aside, what was the phrase? Kings and queens, the riches in the niches, that sort of thing. What are you doing to raise your profile in the world of fertility practices?
I'm going to conferences. I'm going to
Okay.
I'm going to a conference in August.
Great.
I am partnering with IVF Nomads. It's another startup. It's a platform for people in fertility. And I'm working with their founder, and we're marketing as a collaborative work. So in other words, what's really happening is I'm using his platform to post my jobs and look for people. And I'm adding people to his platform, and I get to use it, and we get to split the profit.
Wow. And I know people listening to this will be going, what did she say there? So IVF Nomads, how did you find that opportunity to make it happen?
Ray Miller is the actual founder of IVF Nomads, the director of operations, and he found me through LinkedIn.
Yep.
I'm actually I'm in the board of directors.
Fabulous. I'm preaching this all the time to consultants in the HR world, but also to software tech companies in the HR world, is team up with other firms, team up in all sorts of ways, content, promotion, advertising, webinars, the works. There are all sorts of ways. You've been very proactive and smart about that to get the word out there about Aphrodite HR, and also it raises your profile in the world of fertility practices. So I think that's really smart. What do you see coming down the road, the future for your business? What's next?
Adding more people, adding more partners. I don't see them as employees. I see them as partners in the dream of making fertility a better place. I just want people to be happy when they go to work, so we can make sure that we're taking care of patients appropriately.
And then lastly, any advice for people who are growing HR-related businesses on the marketing growth side of things? What's your advice to them?
Focus on a niche. Focus on your favorite industry. Focus on your passion, because having your own business is not easy. Growing something that you're passionate about is not easy. But if you focus on a niche where there is tons of people like fertility that are passionate about the same industry, then you're going to have a lot of people that are going to have your back. And understand that you can't do it on your own. You got to have partners.
So Cecilia, if people want to learn more about you or about Aphrodite HR and what you do, and maybe becoming a customer client, working with you or something else, what should they do next?
Definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as Cecilia Clark or Cecilia Lex Clark, but she's my middle name. And go to my website, aphroditehr.com. I'm still building it, and I'm building it myself. So it's still in the process, but definitely there you can do that.
Fabulous. We'll add the links to those. But yeah, I did actually see the website. It looks great. So check out Aphrodite HR. The link to the website's in the show notes, and to Cecilia's LinkedIn profile and the business profile as well. But Cecilia, thank you very much for sharing your business story, and I wish you all the best for you and for the business in the future.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.